Happy New Year and welcome to episode 39 of the Austin Downbeat. I'm Kat, your host. I have a great guest for you today, but first, as you know, we always run down who's playing here in Austin, Texas for the week, this first week of January 2023. Let's go. On the 5th, Barbara Nesbitt and Bonnie Whitmore are playing at the Continental Club up in the gallery. On the 6th, we have Como Las Movies at Cheer Up Charlie's. On the 7th, we have Julia Milanta along with Gabe Rhodes at one of my favorite places to see a show, Peggy's Porch Party. There's also Peggy's on the Ledge, which is awesome too. Also on the 7th, Jackie Vinson's at Antone's. The next day on the 8th, Ray Wiley Hubbard is at the Redbird Listening Room. And then finally, also on the 8th, we have the Resentments over there at the Saxon Pub, also one of my faves. That does it for the rundown. Be sure to check bandsintown.com. It's a great resource to find all of your favorite bands and where they're playing. All right, let's get to it because this is a good one. Ruel Thomas is my guest today. He is a one-man band, but also has a band, and you're going to be hearing more of that music, I would say, coming very, very soon. I would say spring of this year, you'll hear a full band album that's coming out. But he recently, just last year in 2022, released an 11-song album called Tonight and Myself. So good. You should definitely give that a listen to and a follow. That's important if it's on Spotify. He's on one of my favorite labels, Dissent Records, owned by Jeff Grounds. He did all of his recording at the Bubble with Frenchie Smith. We talk about that. This is a really cool, I call him a kid because he's younger, but it's neat. He's grown up in Austin. He's seen it change, and now he's part of that music scene, and he has a neat perspective on that. So please enjoy my guest today, Ruel Thomas. I'm so happy to welcome you to the show, Ruel Thomas. I feel like it's been a while. I've had my eye on you. You've been watching what I'm doing, and finally we get to kind of officially meet. So welcome.
It's an honor. Thank you for having me.
Oh, please. No, the honor is all mine. I'm really excited to talk to you because I don't know you. We do have a mutual friend in Jeff Grounds. So you're on Dissent Records label.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it makes perfect sense to talk. And I've been watching what you're doing, and I have
I
a lot of
appreciate it.
questions. You're kind of one thing I like about you is, some performers just give you, they just rip off the veil and kind of everything, and they let you in behind the scenes. And I feel like as much as you play out, because you're busy, I feel like there is this air of mystery around you. So I'm kind of curious to see, I know you're from Austin, but tell me a little bit about, let's just kind of jump right in.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and talk about this journey. I mean, you're from here, you're surrounded by music and the kind of, the feel and the vibe of Austin, but was that kind of always something that attracted you, or did it take a little bit of time?
Yeah, it definitely attracted me. I wish I was more of the prototypical musician than I really am. Like you know, I played sports. I have more of like a sports mindset really than like music sometimes, but I'm like at my heart a musician, sort of always have been. Um, but yeah, Austin, the whole vibe of Austin and the music scene and everything that was always very attractive to me. Like even growing up, I mean, you're just naturally around music, and we would grow up, driving by like the backyard, which was like that venue towards Lake Travis, which was kind of closer to where I grew up. And I'd always know who was playing, and we'd always have the radio station on, and if I was on like my best behavior, we could listen to like the certain like rock radio stations in the car. And then once like the aux cord became a thing, then it was like game over. My parents were just absolutely screwed. Like they hated me for like from middle school through the end of high school probably. Because
That's
I'd always be playing some sort of like obscure like old song, so yeah, I always kind of I was always very proud of like Austin being a music town. And then like whenever there was music, I was always very interested. Without knowing what was going on, I'd always kind of like be critiquing whatever band we might be listening to at whatever restaurant we would be at or whatever like that. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. I think I can be a little mysterious a little bit because it's just me and I'm just like showing up, you know,
Yeah.
play my acoustic guitar. Like I play like, I'm sort of like playing relaxed sort of music, but it's kind of like deep. So yeah, I can I can see how you could think that.
Well, yeah, and you touched on you are a one-man show. I mean, to the point where you are doing so many things at one time. You're playing guitar, you're
Mhm.
singing, and then both feet, do you always do the kick drum and the tambo, or is
So
that just
not all so I did it last night. I played at Geraldine's last night. So I for a long time, like right after COVID ended, I built that drum here in my house, like in this room that I'm in right now. Um, and I had a girlfriend at the time that like we had gone. So I always have like Shaky Graves. That was like the inspiration for that drum.
Mhm.
And I knew I sounded very, very different from him. So I was like, well, if I were to build this drum, it's like a three-step process. Like build it, learn how to play it, and then like go play it. Like, and I wasn't really sure how many steps I would get into that process
Yeah.
because I never even played drums or anything. But I built that drum in like a day, um, stuck the tambourine on there, played it for like an hour, and then I was like, no, I can do this. And yeah, then I like the next day or the 2 days later, I started playing live with it. And I was like in 2020, and I was like, no, this is gonna work great. Like, and then I literally that drum is what got me busy. Like once people, because there's just only so many singer. I mean, I think there's a few singer songwriters that go and gig with that, but they probably don't play like 3 hour gigs with it. And that's what I've been doing for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I mean, it was the perfect tool for me because it's the same thing that Shaky Graves, Alejandro. Not that I'm on a first name basis with him, but I know what his first name is. But like he said the same thing. He's like, once I started playing the drum, people just listened and like cared a little bit more,
Why do you think
and it
that
worked the
is?
same way. I mean, for me, okay, I was actually just explaining this to my girlfriend Elizabeth. Whenever I have the drum, I feel very comfortable playing my original songs. Like I want to play my originals way
Mm,
more than I would want to play a cover that somebody might recognize and like and would kind of like get them off guard. There's something about like the drum happening that like kind of like makes people just kind of like ease up a little bit.
mhm.
I mean, I understand that a little bit only because I mean I can only listen to an acoustic guitar for so long.
Right.
So whenever there's like another part of the equation, like for instance, I could be singing and like be in the middle of my song, be playing the drum, be playing my harmonica, be playing my guitar, I can stop any one of those things, in the middle of one of my original songs, and it like instantly becomes cooler because now I'm not playing the drum, but then it was just there, or now I
Mhm.
can just play my, or sing and play the drum for a little bit, like for like, a bar of the music, and now that sounds interesting. So it's just like another aspect that I think people um I mean, it's also just so primal. Like people just obviously like beats and
That's what
music.
I was gonna
So
say. I
yeah,
think it's
so
tapping into that primal thing and it's helping organize the sound that way.
definitely. Yeah, it gives you something like I mean, I played a lot of gigs like this year. I mean, I've been really, really, really thankful. I mean, I've played a ton of gigs. Like when I say a ton, like approaching like a gig a day for this entire year. I think I'm at like 360 or 350 or something.
Yeah, I looked at your December and I was like, holy shit, like this guy is working, which I
Yeah, so
love
it's
that.
pretty crazy, but and like a lot of I mean the majority of my gigs are not like at all glamorous. There's nothing like glamorous about them. It's just me singing for people in like restaurants and stuff. A lot of it's that. But like I'm singing my original songs and I'm really glad to be doing that. And I connect with so many people. Like it's really, really great. But oh, I forgot where I was going with this. But basically, yeah, like having the drum is one thing. Like I can just kind of play my own original stuff. I'm not like tempted to like play another like Eagles song or like some other classic rock song. And then if I happen to play one of those songs with the drum, then it's also kind of cool because it's my own style. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, but I'm yeah, it's a whole little thing that kind of worked for me.
It is. It is. So what's what's kind of the goal? Not that I like to put like an end game or an eventually, because I kind of like to just be in the moment, but
Yeah.
do you ever want or see yourself playing with a band, or is this
Yeah.
like just kind of
So
staying solo?
I started playing with the band like when my album came out in September. So I released an album, my first album in September. Which you guys
Mhm.
should go check it out. It's called Tonight and Myself, which it basically I didn't even talk to anybody about this, but it's just about how I wrote all the songs at night and it's just me. So I was just like, I mean,
I love it.
I was always a little bit criticized by my writing teachers as like a kid and all the way through college and stuff because I was a little bit concise.
Uh-huh.
And and when I say concise, I just mean like I'm just like I can only elaborate so much, and I'm good at like condensing things, and that's just what it is. It's just me,
Good.
and it's at night, and this is what I'm doing. But that's the album, and I started to create a band, a 3-piece band, for like the release of that album, and yeah, Geraldine's has been a really good spot for me
Yeah.
over the years, and so we had the residency there in September, and that was the first time I'd played with the band in a year and a half. So yeah, we did a bunch of shows, or like five or six shows for that. Um, and I haven't really done any band shows since then. We're gonna play a few more, hopefully more than a few, but we have a few on the calendar already for spring.
Oh,
So the band
good.
is cool, but like sometimes I just really like playing by myself,
Yeah.
and I can just sort of it's just less rigid with the without the band. I can just do what I want and like sing whatever song next, and it's
Yeah.
just a certain degree of freedom that I've kind of gotten used to, like playing all these dang shows. Like, you just do I want to play? Like, I just have I never write a set list. I never write a set list. I have a little
Right. Well, you
list.
don't, yeah, you don't have
I have
to.
a list of songs on my guitar. If anybody ever sees that little piece of paper on my guitar, it's just a ton of songs. It's just every song I know, it's on this piece of paper. And I
Oh,
just
funny.
grab songs like normally like when I'm in the like very end of a song, I'll kind of like pick the next song I'm gonna sing and then that's what I'll go
I
into.
feel like your brain is concentrating on so many things. Let's add another one and be picking the next song while you're playing and doing all these
uh
like
yeah, I'm a little bit ADD. I think that probably
it's
works for me.
working.
Yeah, like my friends always give me a hard time because when I'm at shows, like singing, like I'm performing. But if there's like people in front of me and they're having like a small conversation, like I'll start to laugh because I'm also listening to what
Hearing.
they're saying because they're normally like telling like a story or something or yeah,
Do you
but
talk in between your songs? Do you engage with
mhm.
the audience? You should next time be like, "Hey, Susan, you should totally go out with."
Yeah, I should say
You
I
should.
do like to talk between the songs for sure. I have to sort of be careful about that though, because I can get a little bit too wordy. The concise thing
Because I was gonna say, which
goes
one
off
is
the page once I start
it?
when I'm amplified a little bit, it gets worse. But yeah. But yeah, the band is really cool. So it's me and this guy, Lee Wall. He's really, really cool. He is in a band called Luna, which is like a well-known band from the 90s. And they're well known now too. They just kind of started in the 90s in New York. They have like a pretty big following actually. Like, I would say they have like a little cult following.
Oh, cool.
um they're like famously they were on like Rolling Stone at one point, and they were like Rolling Stone deemed them to be like the most famous, like least known band
Yeah,
ever.
yeah, yeah,
And like, they were sort of like it's like kind of a bittersweet title to have, but
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
really, really good. And he's actually going on tour soon. They're doing like a bunch of I think they're doing like 8 or 9 dates like up the West Coast.
Fun.
They played 310 earlier this year, and like I was there. It was completely packed for both of those shows. So they have like a pretty nice like indie following.
I'm
And then
gonna
my
check it out.
bassist is he's from New Mexico. His name's Colton Forrest Hardy. He's really great. So I enjoy the band. It's just I'm a little selfish, so I like to play by myself too.
Well, when you're playing a gig every day, it's kind of like taking your family to work every day if you were on a normal job. It's like so much easier just to go to work by yourself.
Yeah,
Do you know what
it
I
is.
mean? Like rather
It's
than, yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
yeah. The solo thing is like so. I mean, it's just it's easy and it's hard. Like the hard part is performing, but like once you're used to it, um, it's just whatever. It's fine. But the showing up and like just loading in, loading out by yourself, and like doing that all those things, it's really simple, honestly. It's and it's kind of like calming and stuff for me, too.
Well,
So
now you have it like now you're in the rhythm of it too. You've been doing
totally.
it for
I
so
mean,
long.
and one day, like I would like to always have a band and like be playing bigger stages and stuff. This is just like the phase that I'm in, that I've like found myself in. Thanks to
Yeah,
the kick drum, like I said, I started playing that kick drum. Things got crazy, and I just became
I
busy, and
love
I'm
it.
just yeah, like I think the next year for me, like um, I want to get better at meeting people and like talking and not always just being this like solo guy, and staying in my own lane. I kind of want to get out of my lane a bit this coming year,
Hmm.
and that's kind of like my goal, I guess. This is like I'm finally coming back to your question. Like
Yeah, no,
like
you
the goal, like it's kind of like breaking off and like getting like breaking away from myself a little bit, emerging myself probably in some more like uncomfortable situations, and just growing it from there and everything. Like being a singer songwriter is a hard thing. Like I mean, and I know you've interviewed a few people that are solo artists as well, but
hmm
yeah, like growing that and like having the band and having that like behind you and stuff. That's kind of like what I see happening in the future for me.
what specifically is uncomfortable for you right now that you want to change?
Like I don't want to go to Saxon Pub and like talk to a bunch of people, and like
Hard.
that's the hard thing. And I mean, like, I talk to Jeff all the time. He's like really, a good communicator with me, and I mean, I consider him like a friend. Um, and he's really good at like talking to people and networking and stuff. And
Hmm.
I I talk too much, and then I just show up, and I'm just not even sure like what I want to say. And so it's like kind of hard. Like those sorts
Hard,
of things
yeah.
are hard. And also like I've definitely, like I said, I have like more, my background is, it's pretty musical, but I don't have like, the biggest like reputation or anything. So like this coming year, like getting uncomfortable, like trying to meet more people, like meet other artists that maybe aren't singer-songwriters, keep connecting, those sorts of things. It's kind of needs that, it's like a necessary part of the whole formula,
Yeah.
definitely. And also I just want to meet other people that are in like cool bands. Like I definitely,
Yeah.
it's like a thing that I want to happen.
And maybe some collaboration coming from that.
Totally.
Yeah, I see that in your year.
Yeah, I'm hoping so for sure.
So this
Um,
episode is the first episode of
oh,
2023. So
amazing.
we are talking today at the very end of a very busy year for Ruel Thomas, but everyone's going to see this at the very beginning of 2023. So I
That's
think we're
awesome.
having a really timely conversation. And I will say, um, I too have my own things that I need to be better at and need to work on and get uncomfortable. And I share that with you. It's hard for me. I'm forcing myself. I put myself out there and I do go and I force myself to do it. But
Yeah.
walking up to people and introducing myself and starting just from A and
Yeah.
handing my card and trying to summarize what I do and the passion behind why I do it in such a
Yeah.
short period of time is really difficult. Plus, I get like social anxiety, so it's hard. So, I say
Totally.
that because you're not alone in that. So, my
Yeah.
advice to you is just to keep, you call me and Jeff and like literally be
No, we
like,
need
hey,
to.
Like seriously, like that's what I do. I have just friends that are musicians, and it's like, hey, what's going on? Let's meet up and go together. And
That's
that
good
way you
advice.
kind of feel
Yeah,
like,
I would never even think to do that.
yeah, so save my number and just like
Love it.
I'm a good platonic wing woman.
Definitely. No, that's good advice.
Yeah,
Sometimes I isolate myself too much. And I'm like an extrovert, so it's like a weird sort of weird thing, but
I do the
I
same
think everybody can
thing.
do that.
Yes. It turns out I'm actually quite um extroverted, and I was always kind of like, but I don't feel like an extrovert at all.
Really.
But I think it's that anxiety that I'm an
Mhm.
extrovert with anxiety.
Yeah.
So,
When I perform for people and then they want to talk and they just watch me sing for like at least 30 minutes, then it's like totally easy because they know like what I do. Like it's like it kind
yeah,
of just speaks for itself a little bit.
yeah,
Um, and the friends that my music friends that I do have, I'm very grateful for. Um, and I'm yeah, it's like a cool thing. Like, hey, like I can't play this gig tonight. Like, do you want to play this? There's like a lot of gig sharing that happens, and like that's like
yeah,
a network of friends like that are sort of do the same thing as me that we kind of like do that, which is really nice because then you kind of like help each other out a little bit.
yeah.
But then I have other friends that I've like recorded with in the past and stuff. But yeah, I would I wouldn't have thought to like, hey, like you guys want to go see a show? Like, I mean, might
Yeah.
as well, or
And I will say a shout out to Saxon Pub.
yeah,
They are one of the places that I always feel so comfortable when I go there.
yeah,
And
it is a
they've
good
been so
spot.
supportive of the show, and me of them, and it's just been this really wonderful, and it's small and it's cozy, and
Yeah, it
you know
sounds really good in there too. Like the
yeah,
sound is
and
nice.
so many great people play there, and they're just
Yeah,
I love, love, love the Saxon Pub. So shout out to them. And
totally. And
just
that's why I said Saxon Pubis because it's the first one that came to my mind.
yeah, I just love it so much. Parking is hard. Parking's
Yeah, true.
parking's a real challenge because
I
they
find myself just in between those apartments behind there and like yeah.
I know
Uh,
we used to be able to park across the street. But then they
oh
like
yeah.
demoed it,
Oh
and now
yeah,
they're
yeah.
doing construction, and you can't do
Mhm.
that anymore. So yeah, it's challenging. So, but yeah, go see shows there and just get your toes wet, and you can meet a ton of
Totally.
people there. So, time is going by so fast.
Love it.
Tell me a little bit about, so we talked about what's sort of challenging. What's going really well? Like, what do you feel like? And because I know doing what you do
Yeah.
is kind of hard, and so what's awesome about it?
Yeah, I just love performing. I love singing for people. I meet so many cool people. I meet so many random cool people.
I
It's
bet.
I mean, it's like I come home, I'm like, wow, like and there's just a lot of generous people. Like there's a lot of really generous people that really are like, secretly looking out for all of us musicians on the ground.
Hmm.
Um which is amazing. And not just like people that are listening and like tipping or like talking or connecting, like the venues, can be really generous.
Hmm.
Um and yeah, there's just a lot of good people that I've encountered, which kind of like gives me a lot of hope.
Hmm.
Um and yeah, the other thing that's going really well is I'm recording new music right now.
Awesome.
And that's going really well. Probably I'll have 5 new songs out. Probably in the next, I mean, I want to say March. That's probably where it's going to be
Yes.
coming out.
Mhm.
Which I'm really excited about. So I did my first album with Frenchie Smith, who's like
I was gonna
notorious,
say
amazing
yes.
Austin producer.
The bubble.
The Bubble, yes, ma'am. So my album was the last album finished at the old Bubble studio, in Hyde Park, and now Frenchie's been at the new studio, which I haven't even gone to, which is kind of sad. I should have gone there at least a few times, and at least gone and seen Scott Collins. Scott and I are buddies.
And
Uh,
little Reggie.
yeah, and Reggie, yeah. Oh, I love Scott. He's the man.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, Scott's one of the guys who are like we've like shared gigs and stuff, you know, because it's like yeah, it's like that sort of vibe, like Erica Michelle,
Love
Brandon
her.
Hughes. Brandon's recorded with Frenchie as well. Him and I go back and forth a lot with gigs that pop up and stuff. So yeah, there's the new music coming out. This 5 songs is done with the band, so it's done with
Oh,
the with Lee
cool.
Wall, the guy I was just telling you about. That he's really great. He's done a lot of different production over the years. He's done like a lot of music for like TV shows and like movies and stuff. But
Sweet.
then he's also done like he's recorded a few different artists and yeah, he just has a great ear and he's a great drummer, like an amazing drummer. Um,
Awesome.
and so yeah, that's all done with him and my bassist slash guitarist slash whatever in between, Colton, who's amazing. So it's kind of like a little bit like of a um different direction, a little bit like a little bit. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I'm excited for people to hear what we made because I think it's. I mean, I really like it. I kind of think it's gonna take me to like a different level of like playing shows and things like that. So that's
Can you put words to how it's different? Like how would you
exciting. Yeah, I would say it's probably just a little bit more of how my live sound is, which is like kind of intimate. Um, in the way where it's just kind of like it kind of just meets you like face to face. It's not trying to be like too big or anything. And then it's a lot of like more modern sorts of sounds and a lot of layers, like a lot of
Okay,
layers in the tracks, like coming in and out. Um, and
cool.
working with Frenchie is amazing. Like I learned so much. Like my ear was trained by Frenchie.
Mhm.
And I consider Frenchie like a mentor. And I mean, he's just great, a great guy, and we made a lot of songs together, so it's like a lot of different sort of tests. Like each song is like a test, like how do we sort of solve this, big
Yeah.
problem. It's really complex, and like all the different sounds that were possible and all the frequencies and everything's analog, so it's like right there in front of you, so you sort of like see what's happening.
Hmm.
So it's like a really amazing experience. Like I think everybody should probably make an album with Frenchie because it's pretty formative. Uh,
Yeah.
and then just seeing his passion, like it's pretty insane how passionate he is.
Yeah.
Like I had like some songs that are just like, they're fine, but like Frenchie basically makes you feel like they're the best song that he's ever heard. And then he's like stoked about it. And then
Yeah.
he's not just excited, like somehow the energy is very like transferable to like other people, and that's how I met my current producer and collaborator, Lee, was through Frenchie. They were on tour together in the '90s when Frenchie was opening up for their band. Frenchie's with 16 Deluxe, and Lee was with Luna, and they like toured all over the U.S. together.
Oh,
So that's how they knew
fun.
each other.
Oh,
Um,
fantastic. What a small
yeah,
world.
yeah. So that was the connection. So
Love
it's pretty
that.
cool. So like Frenchie knows who I'm with and stuff. So it's like kind of good, that he sort of like he knows I'm in good hands with Lee. Um, so yeah, so the music is pretty intimate.
I'm excited.
It's really it's just like I have so many dang songs. Like I've got 50 something good-ish songs that I think are good. They're kind of always like changing and stuff. And um but yeah, we these 5 songs are going to be cool. And then so the goal is to do 5 and then do another 5, and it'll sort of be like a part 1, part 2 sort of situation. And
I like that.
yeah, just trying to grow the online presence, like just like you probably, you're
Hard. It's like a
doing
full-time
as many
job.
podcasts. Yeah, it's crazy. And then the posting, like I want to post more. Like I want to do all these things. So it's like kind of like, all right, what's actually gonna happen? We'll see. But the music's definitely gonna come out.
Yeah, yeah. For you, the music is the most thing. Yeah, it's like a full-time job. I probably in most of the interviews I do, we end up talking about social media and promotion and just, you know,
Yeah.
commiserate together on
Oh yeah.
the
It's such a
necessary
drag sometimes.
evil. At the same time, I
Yeah.
will say I don't want to bash it too much because I don't know how old you are, but Um, I grew up in a day where I didn't have a computer in my pocket and I didn't
Yeah,
have a way to just by a couple clicks promote what I'm doing out to
totally.
as far as it would reach. There wasn't that. So as much as I
Yeah,
kind of like to bash it, I am so thankful for it. And it is kind of
no, same.
fun.
I don't know
So
how we do it. I don't know how anybody would hear anything. Like you have to like have like an email list or something or like a newsletter.
well, I will tell you, I mean, back in the day when I was a kid, it was all about MTV. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
we I mean, I remember asking my parents if I could stay up late for the premiere of Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller video,
Oh wow.
on MTV.
That must have
And
been exciting.
oh my gosh, I
That's
mean,
incredible.
I can't remember what year that was. I was young. Okay. I'm not that old, but like I remember, but I was obsessed with Michael
Yeah,
Jackson and Prince. And
awesome.
that was how we got it. It was like you had to wait for it. You had to go to Kmart and get, like, I still have a 45 of New Edition's song Cool It Now. I thought that that was the best thing. I went to Kmart, I begged my dad, paid for it with my own money, and I still have it. And I had a little
That's
blue
awesome.
turntable in my room and I would play it over and over and over.
That's
But,
amazing.
but we didn't know about in the 80s, we didn't, unless you had a cool hometown with like, bands playing and you kind of found that scene
Hmm.
there, or, like a cool record store or something like that, you really didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
You had to go to shows, you had to hear it through the grapevine. Um,
Mhm.
and so it's a lot different now, obviously.
Yeah.
And in a town like this, we have so many people playing.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and it's different but the same because like still the artists that I find like that I enjoy and like really dive into,
mhm.
it's random. Like it's so random. You know,
Uh-huh.
there's so many things I could listen to. Like we could listen to so many things.
Yeah, lots of choices.
And like, yeah, I'll just see like the shortest clip of something on like Instagram or like the shortest clip, and I'll be like, that sounds cool. And
Yeah,
thankfully I'm 2 clicks away from like streaming that album and being like, oh wow, like whether this song already has like 1 million streams and it's great, but I've never heard it, or like this literally has no streams and it's like also great.
I know
So
you
it's
feel
like
like you're
it's
discovering
kind of
them.
amazing. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, I hope that somehow happens with me at some point with, but it's like it's just cool like how that happens because
But
it's
circling back around, you got to put yourself out there and you have to put yourself
yeah.
in that circle, right? And you have
Hmm.
to, and that's the thing that kind of takes time. And that's the thing that you have to, I think above all else, be consistent. I think
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
consistency is huge.
It's everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the look and the feel, like I love your Instagram posts, like with the
Oh, thank
numbers.
you. Oh,
Like
thanks.
that's genius. Like
Thank you.
that's how I know who you are. Is like, oh yeah, that's the numbers. It's like a really. I don't know if other people have said that, but it's really smart.
Yeah, people like the numbers. It grabs the attention. It stays very organized. I'm a big fan of like brain science and knowing what our brains actually want and what they do and how they behave and sort of, what makes them kind of feel good. And so that kind of, visual consistency. Plus, I
Yeah.
also just like to, I'm also kind of an organized person and I just like to keep it really clean. So, like, all
No,
my
I love it.
stories are the same. Like, when I put a story out for an episode, I like it to be the same because I know that I have such limited attention span for
Yeah.
people.
Oh yeah.
And so I want to make it the same every time. This is who it is. This is where you click.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like super simple. But I'm
Oh,
thank you for
it's
saying
great.
that.
No, yeah, yeah. It's awesome. Like
Thank you. Thank you.
it's really really cool.
I appreciate that. It's going to be interesting. I'm far from it, but when I get up to triple,
Yeah.
I'm like, how are we going to do that? We'll figure it out.
No, it'll work out. It'll work nicely.
You're number
And then you'll
39.
be like, you'll be at like 300 episodes, and then like you're gonna be huge. I feel like that's like that's I never find a podcast like that's big under like 200, 300 episodes. Like it's something about like that number that
Yeah.
like gets, I don't know. And
Yeah.
I always tell people it's like it has to like soak into the groundwater a little bit. Like everything you put out there, it just takes a little bit of time to like sort of rise up to a certain level where people like on a certain like on like a larger scale are noticing whatever.
I agree with you. And I think, and I know that, and that's why I stay really tethered to the fact that like I have to really enjoy doing this.
Hmm.
I'm not doing it for any other reason other than loving talking to people like you,
Yeah,
love getting the opportunity to shine the light on people that are doing what you're doing. It's such
yeah.
a
No,
important,
it's a
I think just on a human level, I admire people like you so much for following what like this passion in particular. I really um, respect and just admire that so much. And then add on the city that we live in that has just wrapped its arms around. I feel like it could be wrapping its arms around it a little more and loving our musicians a lot more lately.
Mhm.
But I just think, you know, it's kind of the perfect storm in this city to do something
Yeah.
like
No,
this.
it's a good cause. There are a lot
Yes.
of good people. And yeah,
Oh,
if you're out there every week, gigging and stuff like, yeah, it's probably a pretty good person to talk to. Like you probably have seen a few things.
yeah, so much value in, and everybody, like there's a through line and a thread that runs through all of you.
Yeah,
And then
I agree
outside
with
of
that.
that, there's so much, you know, that's unique and interesting and valuable on just a human level too.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
really
It's just
appreciate.
there's something about a struggle that's like exciting, but like, doing the small music, like the live music scene and like
Yeah.
growing in like that, it's really yeah, it's pretty and doing a podcast too, like there's just if you really put your heart into something, you grow through it. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Like, I don't know how you feel about happy music. Personally, I'm not a big fan of like just over the top, like Jack Johnson, bubble gum. Like, give
yeah.
me the pain, give me the struggle. Let me feel like you know my heart and my soul.
Love it.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
No disrespect to Jack Johnson or people that play happy music. It's just not, it's
No,
hard for me to grab
I
onto
like that
that.
take. I
You know
like
what I
that.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that. I don't hear people say that enough. Yeah,
Give
there's
me
some,
credit.
and you're talking to somebody that loves like pop music. Like I really like pop music,
Hmm.
and there's definitely, I mean, there's just like instantly, I'm like, nah, I don't really want to listen to that. And then sometimes I'm a sucker for like a really good song that's just like happy.
Sure. Yeah,
But there's like a pH test that happens on like every pop song. It's like, where is this really coming from?
but you know what's really cool about, and I love pop too, but I will tell you why I probably love, and maybe not all of it, but here's the thing about pop music, and this is my favorite when people take a pop song
Hmm.
and they completely strip it down and they play it slow like it's a tragic ballad.
Oh yeah,
You hear the lyrics. Pop lyrics are rarely bubblegum.
yeah.
If you
That's true.
really, it's about arrangement. It's not about story.
I agree.
And so that's why I think pop music gets away with it for me, because I
Yeah,
know that even though the sound, it doesn't fool me because I'm really into lyrics and story and I can spot them.
that's good. That's a good
So
skill.
strip it down and play it like it's tragic. And that pop, you know, Katy Perry song is just like will make you cry.
No, that's a good point. That is a secret for sure. Is make a sad song happy, and it's probably gonna be a hit if you do it right.
Yes, break my heart in a like the most beautiful way.
Hmm.
That's what I love. That's my favorite.
So so besides Michael Jackson, like what other like people got you like excited about music and stuff like that?
um, ooh, the interviewee asks a question.
Well, you said Michael Jackson, but there has to be in Prince, but
Well, yeah, I mean those were like my pop formative pop heroes. But opposite of that, I was also spinning my father's records, listening to Billy Joel,
hmm
you know, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, John Cougar Mellencamp,
hmm
who else? All that dad music, America.
Oh yeah.
I call it all dad music. The
Oh
Eagles.
yeah.
I love Don Henley. I hear he's an asshole, but I don't care. His voice is one of my favorite voices on
I
the
love Don
planet.
Henley too.
Yeah,
I
Boys of
love Don
Summer
Henley.
is top five songs for me.
Oh yeah.
But then as I got older, it was the Smiths that really,
Mm,
really just sort of like just hit really perfect timing for me. 18 years old on my own in Santa Barbara, California, driving my little Beetle,
that's
like
sweet.
surfing every day and just listening to the Smiths and
That's sweet.
loving it.
I see it in my head. That sounds nice.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome, awesome time in my life. So I still listen to the Smiths a lot. I have them on vinyl, and The Queen is Dead, that album for me, that was the first album that I ever owned. I had a cassette, and my car, I had a little Volkswagen Beetle named Tracy that didn't have the radio didn't work, and so I had a boombox that just sat on my passenger seat, and I
Right.
still have that cassette, and it's melted because the sun melted
Oh,
the case, but I would just play that over and over and over. I'm one of those people where I just like,
oh, that's how I am too.
yeah,
Yeah, if something's like that good, I just listen to it over. I have like a hard time breaking out of my like repeated songs
I
sometimes. But,
know.
and I have like a similar sort of coming up like you. Like I just listen to my dad's music and
Yeah,
it's like a lot of that, classic stuff.
bad music.
And I'll still it's just like comfort music. Like I'll just like I'm not a huge comfort like food person. I mean, obviously I love food, but
Yeah,
like the music is so much more comforting than like me going and having some certain dish or whatever. It's like the same
right.
effect.
Same. Same. Music is so important to me. I mean, it just, yeah. I mean, how do you even like put words to that? It's
Yeah,
just on a
it's
cell
much
level.
it's pretty magical. Yeah, it's very different from anything else I've experienced like um as far as like the outside world, like me absorbing something like it's music is like the only thing that kind of like takes me to a certain place. So
Yeah.
that's why I mean that's why I always want to be playing is because it just kind of like not that I like have anything to like escape, but it's just kind of like the best place that I can go is like to me be playing music like wherever I am. That's kind of just where I find myself to be like feeling very natural and like normal, and so it's like just gives me a little bit of like a place in the world. Um,
Yeah.
so
And how lucky that you know that about yourself and that you're able
I'm
to
very thankful.
put yourself there.
I know it's such a blessing. I mean, I was talking to my parents about this because they're asking me like how much I like Austin because I kind of like have lived. So I grew up here, but I lived in Baltimore for like 4 years. That's where I went to college, and then I finished. And I also lived in Australia for like half a year. But like I just say that because that's the only I've only lived like three different places, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
Um, but Austin is like so different from when I was young. It's just completely different. um the like I just know like their restaurants are like my landmarks is just
Yeah.
that's kind of like my like the bases that I like run around to is the different restaurants, but I couldn't be in like a better place. Like it Austin is just great, like, and the more people that are here, like I welcome that because it's just more places I can go play and like
Mhm.
not just for me to play, but like, the next like, the kid that's 5 years or 10 years younger than me that like wants to go play live. Like there's just going to be more and more opportunity. That's what I hope for, at least in like
Yeah.
a growing city, especially a city that like has a heritage of and like a legacy of great music. So it's exciting to me, and like I just can't wait to see like how that continues to grow. And like I think as long as like the city kind of incentivizes people somehow to like or like keeps the venues going and those sorts of things, like I think that's kind of step one to like keep that going. Um,
Hmm.
but that music, like it's just, I saw the video of like Billy Gibbons, they played like Antones or
It
whatever
does. Yeah.
last night or 2 nights ago. And yeah, it's just so cool, like the heritage and like the legacy and then like the things that people are listening to over and over again in like these different eras. It's just incredible. It's really magic, honestly.
Yeah. I call them Austin's beloveds. You know, I've been so fortunate
Yeah, that's a
to
good
have
way to put it.
so many of them on the show already, and so many lined up for next year. And that's a really critical. And I like to talk to all kinds of people that are playing music in the city, but
Hmm.
I really want to preserve that group of people that are part of that fabric of like
Oh
heritage,
yeah.
like you say. You know, they're each
Oh
part of
yeah.
that fabric.
It's like a family tree. Like it's like you
Yeah.
gotta sort of honor the people that are
Yeah, I don't
above.
want people to lose sight of that. You know, we have a lot of influx of people and
Mhm.
and lots of opinions on that. I just don't ever want to lose the preciousness of
Yeah. Well, to me, it's
yeah.
like it gives me like hope and like faith and stuff because I know that they probably had like a time where they were playing. I mean, I've heard
Yeah.
stories of like guys that, are like well known. They're like playing small clubs, like, because not because it's like fun and it's going to be a packed house. It's just like that's what the state that they're in, or
Yeah.
and so it's kind of cool to like, you know, you wherever you find yourself playing your music, like it's so related to everybody else that you probably really like, you know, even like Billy Joel or like Billy Gibbons, like they're playing, um,
Mhm.
or like what other Billies can I think of? But they're all playing in like,
Billy
little
Idol, he's
clubs.
my favorite.
There you go.
I love him.
They're all playing in like different, like small clubs, like when they're probably my age or like a little bit younger than me, probably. But it's just kind of comforting that you
Mhm.
can sort of grow in that way.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
pretty,
speaking of growing,
yeah.
I'm really excited for you in this next year. I'm glad that
Thank you.
I was able to find you and be aware of what you're doing, and I'm now gonna
No, I
just
appreciate talking to you.
watch.
It's really good to get to know you. I'm
Yeah.
excited. We'll have to figure out when one of my fun shows is, and you should come to the show, and maybe I'll try to get Jeff to come too. Or
Yeah, I would
get
love
a
to.
crew
And
of people.
Get Scott out there.
Oh yeah, we can
And
get the whole bubble crew
does
can
Frenchie
come
ever come
again.
out? I need to have Frenchie on the show.
Oh, you
I need to
do.
reach out to him because
You need to
he's
have like
been
a 3 hour podcast with Frenchie.
I need to go there and film it there somehow, probably.
That would be incredible.
That'd be
No,
really
he
cool.
is an amazing person. He is so connected and he's just made so many albums, so much music. It's incredible.
And he just
It's
seems
insane.
like such a wonderful person. I have heard so many people talk about this man. So I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, he's really a bless. I mean, he's a huge gift to me. Like just knowing him has been very. It's just been really nice. He's just a great guy, and he's like very complex. I would say he's like a complex, really great person.
Oh, I love that. That's good.
He's so busy. He won't ever be able to listen to this, so I can say whatever I want
He won't watch. This is the end. Very few people watch all the way to the end, I'm sure.
No, I'm sure people
A
do.
video.
That's awesome.
That's so funny.
But yeah, we'll definitely meet up in the real world.
Yes, yes. I look forward to doing
Love
that.
it.
In the meantime, best of a new year to you and be safe
You
and
as well.
yeah, and
I
take
can't
care of
believe it.
yourself.
2023.
Buckle up. All right, Ruel
Thank
Thomas,
you so
thank
much
you
for
so
having
much.
me. I really, really appreciate it.
It's an absolute pleasure. I will see you soon, I'm sure. All right, that does it for this episode of the Austin Downbeat. I'm Kat. My guest, thanks, Ruel Thomas, and we will see you next time. Bye.